I am standing here with Devin Walker of WordPress, and hi.
Hello, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you?
Excellent, excellent.
Oh, good. So tell me a little bit about WordPress and what it is you do in WordPress.
Sure. So WordPress is a plugin development shop, and our main product is Give. It's a WordPress donation plugin, and I lead up the development of the product.
So you're a coder.
Basically, yes. I do some design as well, but majority of the time it's development.
Cool. So how did you get involved in the WordPress world?
Well, you know, actually I made my way to WordPress from Joomla, believe it or not. And
okay, bye. No, just kidding. JK.
Yeah, so in 2009-ish, I first discovered Mambo, which basically turned into Joomla. I don't know if you guys have ever used Mambo, but yeah, it's interesting. And then I started using Joomla. I was like, wow, this is great. And then I saw WordPress after that, and my eyes were even more open, and I haven't looked back since.
And when was that?
2009.
2009. So this is about 7 years now that you are deep in the WordPress community.
Yep.
When did you first start becoming aware of the WordPress actual community, WordCamps and whatnot?
Okay, so that was a couple years after that. I was first working at a full-time job at an agency, and I think a lot of these folks that work for the agencies that use WordPress don't tend to be part of the community because it is their day job almost. It's not until after I left the agency job and started going to meetups and started going to WordCamps that I actually felt the whole community kind of vibe, and really after that was all into it.
What was the first community thing that you did with WordPress?
Well, it was first a meetup in San Diego. I think it was a beginners meetup, and I remember they showed me WordPress SEO, which is now Yoast SEO, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I got everything I wanted out of this, and I just kept going to them. And then WordCamp San Diego, 2012, unfortunately I didn't get tickets for it because I didn't realize how fast they sold out. So I was a little bit sad about that, and then next year I made sure to get tickets, and that was the first WordCamp I ever went to.
So that was, your first one was San Diego 2013?
Yeah.
So now it's 2016, that's 3 years of WordCamps. How many WordCamps have you been to since that first one?
Oh my gosh, so many, and I'm part of the organizing team of San Diego now too, so it just shows like a couple years you can be a large part of the community, and I moderate Advanced WordPress on Facebook as well, which has 20,000 members now. So really, I don't know how many WordCamps I've been to, probably at least 50.
In 3 years?
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
So how do you participate in those WordCamps? As a sponsor with Give, as a speaker, as an attendee?
So sometimes we sponsor. Depends on the WordCamp where it's at, logistically. Sometimes I speak at it. At this WordCamp, I'm just attending, and it's so much fun. It's really a good time. We get to spend a lot of time in the hallway track, and then you know, get to network a lot as well. So you get almost as much out of attending as you do as sponsoring and speaking, I find.
Yeah, definitely. So tell me about the sponsorship that you've done either through Give or through WordPress. What motivates that, your sponsorship? Are you looking for advertising, or is it just being part of the community? What's your motivation?
Really to get our product in front of the users that aren't, you know, the influencers out there. We tend to call them sometimes implementation partners, the people that run the agencies that work with the nonprofits that might tend to use Give, don't know about it. That's really what I attribute our success of gaining our active installs up in that plugin. For just being out for a year, we're at 10,000 active installs. I think it's almost going to be at 20 soon. So that type of growth I attribute to getting out there in the community. My partner Matt Cromwell is really influential as well. He blogs for a lot of different websites like Media Temple. Media Temple has also been really helpful for us to go and attend a lot of these WordCamps as well. So yeah, it's been great making partnerships and things like that.
So when you are speaking, tell me about how you go about kind of deciding what you want to talk about. Where do you get your ideas from, and how do you make that choice?
So we, as a team, recently sat down because WordCamp US has now opened up their speaker applications, and we know that's one of the tougher camps to get into. So we sat down as a team for about an hour. I think it was actually a 2-hour meeting, and we just went through each of us, and we said, what kind of topics are you interested in speaking about? Who the audience is going to be? And then we beat them up a bit to make them as good as they could be. And now I think in another week or two we're going to come back and we're going to have full descriptions for our speaker presentations. And then we'll kind of do a group thing again, and that's how I think we refine really what our topics are going to be. But before that, it was just individually we would figure out what topics. Like. So
this is the first time you guys have taken that kind of strategic approach as a company?
Team. Yeah, as a team, yeah.
And that is because you just really want to talk at WordCamp US, or is it about user,
Well, we want to raise the quality of our presentations up, and I think we do that by not thinking of them in a bubble, but rather as a team. And some of the topic ideas that we came up with were really interesting that we couldn't have thought about on our own. So, yeah, that's kind of how that formulated.
So you've been going to WordCamps actively for 3 years, and what have you seen in terms of topics for speakers that have changed? Have you noticed a change specifically in the type of things people are talking about at WordCamps?
Yeah, I mean, I noticed a lot more e-commerce talks now, a lot of talks about optimization and also setting up HTTPS or SSL on your site, securing all the things, if you will. Lots of talks on, Jason gives some good talks on multimedia and podcasting, things like that.
That's Jason Tucker, our own, behind the cameraman.
So really getting topics that aren't always about, the straight up WordPress, how to make a custom post type or something like that. Kind of thinking out of the box for some of these topics have been really cool. And also, Russell Aaron of WordCamp Las Vegas has been doing a lot of good general discussion types of where everybody gets in a room, let's say it's 100 people, he'll be a moderator, and they just throw up topics like Jetpack. What do you guys think about Jetpack? And there'll be questions, there'll be controversies, there'll be all sorts of good stuff. And these types of formats, in addition to panels and other things, are a lot more interesting to me rather than listening to somebody talk for like 45 minutes, which is good, don't get me wrong, but it provides a good mix.
So in terms of the community, what, other than the WordCamp specifically, what are some things that you've noticed in terms of the way that it's changed since you've first gotten involved, or since you've been differently involved now with Give?
I think that it's gotten a lot larger. I see new people every WordCamp I come to, but there's still that core group of organizers and influencers that are still coming around as well. There's a lot more plugins out there. I think the hosting companies are a lot more present than they used to be in the past, as well as different maintenance companies as well. WP Site Care is a good example of a company that wasn't around 3 years ago, but now there's a lot of other companies like them that are competing in the space. They kind of carved that niche out, and it's changed as WordPress has changed, and it's gotten better, in my opinion.
As a business that's based on WordPress, how do you plan for something that is so community built, and you don't necessarily, there's a slight roadmap, but you don't necessarily know where things are going until everyone's decided what's happening in the next build. So how do you plan for that or incorporate that kind of spontaneity into your own strategic planning for your company, which is all WordPress based?
Right, that's a great question. Well, we always try to keep in queue with what the community team is talking about, what they're going to do in the next build, what the roadmap is for the product, or the platform, and then we kind of build our roadmap kind of based off what they're going for. So if we know a big release is coming out, such as their support OEmbed now in the WYSIWYG editor, okay, we need to have a feature that's going to support that in ours. If they're going to be changing a certain part of the admin interface that we interact with, we have to be aware of that. So whenever we're developing, we're always using the nightly builds of WordPress trunk, and we're really involved with the Slack channel as well. So that's been helpful in communicating with them as well.
You mean the WordPress Slack channel in general?
Yeah.
Do you guys participate, other than participating and sponsoring in WordCamps, coming to WordCamps, speaking at WordCamps and meetups and organizing, which is, sounds like a lot. It's a lot. Do you do anything in terms of core commits? Is any of your team part of that, or any of the development teams on WordPress itself? Or are you just kind of like watching and doing your own thing?
For the most part, watching and doing our own thing, but we do most of our giving back is within the moderation of AWP. We also do a number of other WordPress groups. We run a couple meetups, but Matt Cromwell has done quite a bit of work with the codecs and doing some documentation. I'm in the support forums all the time. Supporting our plugins, which are free on there as well, but then also answering some general questions here and there.
So you think, I'm assuming then from that pattern of behavior that you guys have as a kind of a company policy, that it's important to be intricately, as it were, intimately involved with WordPress.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, if you're a business based on the platform, you need to be with the platform and knowing what it's doing, and also making sure that it thrives.
So in terms of what it is doing and what it will be doing, what are you most excited about in the WordPress community, or in the code, or in a WordCamp that's coming up? What's most exciting on the horizon, the WordPress horizon, for you coming up in the next year?
I think with the availability of the REST API, a lot of the different features and possibilities that will become available once that's included in core will really help take the platform to the next level and really ramp up adoption, I think, with some of the enterprises as well. So I think WordPress is just getting its foot in the door within the enterprise space. That's going to really kind of make it go faster, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, so lots of changes on the horizon, and so you're excited about those changes.
Definitely, definitely.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Devin, for talking with us.
You're
welcome. And what's your Twitter?
At Interwebs, INNER Webs.
Interwebs. At Interwebs on the tweets and whatever else you want to follow them on. Thanks so much, you guys. Bye, Facebook.